All right, guys. So we are working with mean, median, and mode, um, along with some statistical distributions. Okay. So mean is the sum of all values divided by the number of values. Okay. So you're going to take all the numbers you're given, add them up, and divide by the total number there are. Your mean can also be strongly affected by outliers. So, like, for example, if I did like an average of your tests, if I included everybody that didn't take a test and say they had zeros, those would affect our class average versus if I didn't include them. Median is the middle number and is not affected by outliers, okay? So it's just kind of, it is that middle number. Your mode is the most common number, and it is also not affected by outliers. An outlier is a value that is much higher or lower than most of all your other values and can change our mean. Okay? So let's kind of take a look. Let's do a couple examples. So if you had the numbers 23, 45, 19, 56, 27, and 45, let's find the mean. Oops. Oh no, I closed that. Sorry guys, I'm just pulling it up. Okay, so what I expect to see is 23 plus 45 plus 19 plus 56 plus 27 plus 45. How many numbers do I have? 2, 4, 6. So then I divide that by 6, and I enter that into my calculator. And I highly recommend showing what your sum values are. Okay, and my answer is 35.833333 recurring. Pay attention to where they ask you to round. Typically they'll tell you. So just look at the answer box down below and see. This example, it probably would say 1 decimal place. If there's a whole bunch of decimals, it typically goes 1 decimal place after the last one. So just pay attention to that. So your median is your middle number. You cannot go up here and just go, well, it's 19 or 56. You have to put it in ascending order. So you would have 19, comma, 23, comma, 27, comma, 45, comma, 45, comma, 56. Okay, I have 6 numbers. So that means either my middle number is 27 or 45. And actually, it's both of those, but it's an average of those two. So you'll take 27 plus 45 and divide it by 2, which will give you 36 when you do that math. Okay. In this example, what is my mode? That's the number that occurs the most. And so I see 45, it occurs the most. With mode, there's something very special. It has to appear at least twice. If we only had 140, let's just say we had 145, there would be no mode in this example if there was only 145. So just keep that in mind. You could have no mode. You have to have it at least occurring twice or more. All right, so here again, let's try another one. So let's do 53 plus 51 plus 75 plus 62 plus 67 plus 60 plus 49 plus 49. All divided by 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 8 values. So enter that into your calculator. 51 plus 53 plus 75 plus 62 plus 67 plus 60 plus 49 plus 49 gives me 456 divided by 8, which is 57. Now, they might ask you something like, do you think there's any outliers? And in this example, you know, a lot of my numbers are 50 and 60. So my outlier, really, I would say 75 is a bit of an outlier. And if we remove that 75, so that would be doing this without the 75 and making this 7. How does that affect my mean? Well, that summing up would be, without the 75 is 381, and you divide that by 7. So my mean would now be 54.42. Okay, so you can see it does affect my mean. It affected it by 3 points, and whatever's going on there. Okay, so let's look at the median. Again, let's put it in ascending order. So 49, 49, 51, 53, 60, 62, 67, 75. I had 2, 4, 6, 8. So I'm looking for my middle two, which happens to be these. Okay. So I'm going to have 53 plus 60 divided by 2. Which gives me 56.5. Again, what's my mode here? Well, what number occurs the most? This happens to be 49. But don't forget, you could not have a mode too, if there isn't something that's occurring at least twice. But if we had one number that's occurring twice and another number that's occurring 3 times, it's only the number that occurs 3 times. Okay, but if you had 2 sets of numbers occurring 3 times, they would both be the mode. You are also going to get stuff that looks like this. Consider the distribution of exam scores from 0 to 100 for 55 students when 34 students got an A, 21 students got a B, and 10 students got a C. How many peaks would you expect for this distribution? All right, so this would be putting all the scores, like all the percentages, all the 90s, all the 80s, and all the 70s into a distribution. And what kind of curve would you expect? How many peaks would you expect? And the answer is you would expect 1 peak. Okay? The way to characterize the shape of the distribution is by the number of modes or peaks. A distribution may have multiple peaks when the objects being measured can be divided into groups that are significantly different than each other. Otherwise, the distributions tend to have a single peak. So with this, I can't divide this into multiple groups. There would probably be 1 peak because there's no obvious reason why the exam scores would be different would form different groups. Okay? We will finish this off on the next video.